I have an unpopular opinion. I think you can create art with any art or office supply you have lying around. And of course, creating with the fancy stuff can be easier and more satisfying. Like with coloring, it's amazing to use alcohol markers, but I think you can color with anything. That's why today I'm grabbing 10 supplies I already have here in my studio, and I'm gonna use them all in this one page to prove you can color with anything. Let me first start by putting a piece of cardstock behind the page to protect the book, since some of the medium we will be using today will definitely bleed through. By the way, this page with the bear and the sunglasses is available as a freebie on my website for a limited time, so if you want to color it, I'm going to link it in the description so you can just get it and have a little fun. Okay, I'm going to start with the background, and I'm going to use tempera sticks. For this, I thought I'd try a trick I saw Kira try recently on her channel. She copied the page she was using and cut the images out to mask the areas she didn't want to color. In my case, I just print it since I'm using my book and I have the art. And after I print it, I remember I have this sticker paper that I used in my last video, which is not the greatest quality. So I thought it would be perfect to print on it and not need to use tape behind it to keep it in place. So I'll just have to cut it out and put it on top and it won't move. I'm peeling the back, but I'm going to cut around the edges, removing the release paper only on those parts so that the center is not sticky and it doesn't fully stick to my paper. Let's see how this plan works. I think it might be an epic fail. So I'm also taking off a little bit of the stickiness by sticking it on my desk first. And now I'm going to run my fingers along that sticky edge to remove some of the glue. Okay, here goes nothing. I'm putting this giant sticker on top of my page. And now I'm just gonna use my tempera sticks and I'm scribbling around, blending some of the colors. And I truly enjoy working with these. I like that they are opaque and bright. And of course, these were made for toddlers though, so they are very chunky and not great for finesse. So that's why I thought it would be easier to use them with a mask in place. But I still think you could find ways to color an entire page with them without using this technique. Maybe using chaos or dopamine coloring, which I showed you 2 weeks ago. By the way, before starting this video, I posted a little poll on my channel and asked which office or art supply you would like to see me use to color an entire page with. So after I'm done using everything on this one page, I am going to color an entire page with just the one supply chosen in the poll, which is something that I would normally not use to color. So stay tuned for that. I can't wait to see what you chose. Okay, so now that I've gone around all of the background, it's done. I think it looks amazing, so time to see if I can take the sticker off. Ooh, it's really on here. This is gonna be a little bit hard to remove. And now I'm remembering that the tempera from the sticks does get some moisture on the paper, which makes it stick on more. But I'm gonna use my heat gun to try to help it release. Okay, so I got that first corner out and it seems like it's gonna work. What a relief. I just need to keep heating it up and doing it slowly because if I do it all at once, I'm definitely gonna rip out the paper. And yeah, the center is of course easy to do because it's not sticky. Okay, sorry, got immediately impatient and just pulled instead of heating it up some more, so I did rip some of my paper out. I'm thinking if I had done it slower and with more heat, this wouldn't have happened, but oh well, I'm going to polish this at the end. Don't worry, I'll fix it. Moving on to our second supply of the day, I'm going to use watercolor. Oh, I have to say, I'm starting with the art supplies I'd be least likely to reach for to color, and then I'm going to work my way toward the ones I use the most. So I have never used watercolors on my books because they are printed on thin Amazon paper, and I know the paper will wrinkle. But all of my YouTube friends have used watercolor on this paper in their videos, so I'm just going to have to go ahead and do that. I'm going to paint the entire background and I'm starting very timidly because I am afraid of ruining the paper. But it's working. Nothing is disintegrating like I thought it would, so it's getting less scary by the minute. I'm just going to carry on and layer some colors and have a little fun with it. I do have to note, coloring with watercolor is so fast. So now I can see why my friends have used this technique for time challenges. I'm gonna add a playlist with some of my friends' coloring videos to the description of this one, so if you want, you can check them all out. So I'm done with the watercolors and it's time to move to the third medium, and I'm gonna use a little bit of craft acrylic paint. Again, this is a medium I haven't used before in my coloring books because I know the water in it will wrinkle and crinkle my paper, but here we are. I'm just gonna paint the entire bear with my acrylic paint. I'm using it as a base, so I'm allowing myself to be a little messy. But of course, if you choose, you can use this type of paint and be a little bit more careful because I actually like it better than the watercolor on the paper. I am going to apply a second layer just to show you that it could render a nice solid finish. It didn't really matter for mine because you're going to see I'm going to work on top of that later, but I still wanted to share. Next on our list is washi tape. I have colored an entire page with tape before, but I thought I would bring this one back so we can talk about it. I've seen a lot of people using tape to do borders on a page or just to add texture on a small area like patterned wallpaper, for example. So I'm simply going to apply the washi tape on top of the area I chose for it, and I have placed a very thick piece of cardstock behind my paper now to keep from cutting through the pages behind. Because now I'm using a cutting knife to go around the outlines to remove the parts of the tape I don't need. I came into this part of the video with so much confidence because, like I said, I've done this before, a whole page with it. But I gotta say, I don't remember it being this hard. I can't get the tape off this time, and it's getting harder to go around making the cuts. It's a little bit frustrating today for me, but I promise this isn't as hard. I've done it before. I don't know, maybe the tape is stickier. I don't know, something. Again, my solution is to warm it up with the heat gun, or you could also, of course, use a hair dryer. But I don't know if I can rescue this because the biggest mistake I just made was placing this tape on top of the watercolor, which is still wet. So even with the heat gun, that wet paper is gonna stick to the adhesive and it's gonna wanna stay here. So yeah, because it was moist, it took out a lot of the paint from that space. Again, it's okay. It's okay. Mistakes happen. Most things can be fixed as we move forward. You know, we trust the process here. And also, lesson learned. I was able to get all of the washi tape after a little bit of a struggle. But on the other side, I am going to remember to dry the watercolor paper area first before putting the tape down. Also here, I'm going to try not to smooth the tape on that area, just on the ones where I really want it to stick. So yeah, on this second side, it was much easier for me to do it. Less of a struggle to take the tape out. I've learned my lesson. Use the heat gun a lot and be patient. So finally all done. Again, I don't know why I struggled with it so much this time. You can watch my other video. It wasn't as bad. But just like last time, I did cut through the paper on some areas, but it's an easy fix. You just have to turn your page, grab some packing tape and secure it from the back and it's all good. Okay, that was a little bit of a disaster, so let's move on to the next art supply I have never used on my coloring books, but I argue you can. And it's good old highlighters. These are the cheapest highlighters that probably exist. I bought the set of 6 for $1.50, and I only bought them because they look like cute little color pencils. And I got them as place settings for a cousin coloring night, and I was gonna write each person's name on them. So I had some of these left over. Again, highlighters are also water-based, so not that great for this paper, but we're gonna go for it. I'm using them for the picnic blanket, so I'm just gonna cover it with stripes. I have to tell you, these are incredibly uncomfortable to hold, super awkward, too small. The shape is terrible, they're so tiny. But I'm doing the best that I can, but yeah, my lines are not the best. Especially at the end here, I can tell it was completely crooked, but it's okay. I think it will look okay at the end. So I'm just gonna add a couple more stripes on the other direction. Oh, these are worse. Sorry. It's definitely eating up the paper already since it was still wet. It looks so wonky, but we're gonna pretend like it's bending or whatever and move on. For the next supply, I'm gonna use fountain pens. I wanted to use colorful fine liners, but I couldn't find any in my studio, so I'm going with these. I have seen a lot of people in coloring groups fill pages with a fine pen. They just fill entire areas with textures and they make it work. I'm going to use mine on the flowers here. I'm adding diagonal lines, crisscrossing them, and I'm doing little swirls for the centers. And I can totally see how this could work, but I think maybe here in such a small area, you need the pattern to be denser. So I'm going to go over it again with more lines, and that's it. Let's see how all of this comes together at the end. But now I'm ready to move on to the next art supply, onto familiar territory with alcohol markers. We are not going to dwell too much on these because I have tons of videos using them and showing you how to use them. They are super satisfying to use because of the even color and how fast you can color with them. And you can also layer them to get darker shades and create shadows. So I'm going to help the little mouse dry with the heat gun because I need a dry surface to be able to layer shadows on top. Okay, done with the markers, and now our next medium is also traditional. I'm using colored pencils. Not much to say about colored pencils. I personally really enjoy using them, but it takes me longer to color with them. That's why I prefer markers. My hand tends to cramp a little bit, but of course they are still so much fun to use. You can layer them, you can blend, you can create shadows as you color. It's really, really entertaining to softly fill spaces of the illustration with them. And here on this book, I'm having some fun with them by layering and creating shadows as I go. To finish, I'm coming back with a lighter cream colored pencil to add light and blend because I can't find my white colored pencil. Next on the list is acrylic markers. There's so much you can do in coloring with acrylic markers, but personally, I like creating texture with them, like painterly texture. So I'm going to try to make the bear look fuzzy by adding a bunch of lines on top with the markers. It is fine that it looks crazy at first. You have to really trust the process and keep layering. And I know it looks wildly aggressive and wrong right now, especially in this page that has so many mediums and nothing else looks painterly, and it's all mismatched. The bear looks crazy, but just trust me, keep adding little hairs. When you use acrylic markers this fast and you keep switching back and forth between them, they blend easily because they're not dry, and it will end up looking good and working, so just keep going. And listen, if it goes wrong, remember you can always paint on top of things with acrylic markers and forget that you made a mistake. I'm gonna let this dry and quickly jump to the next art supply, and that is glitter gel pens. These are so much fun to use. You can definitely fill entire pages with them. This one's almost dried out, so I'm just gonna switch it. We've used them a lot with my daughter, and I personally love the little sparkle these add. I'm working on natural light right now, so you can't really see the glitter, but when you put the page under artificial light, this really shines. Okay, now I've gone through all of my media, so it's time to pull this page together and fix everything I've ruined so that it looks good. First, I'm going to go over all of the outlines I tore with a black liner pen. On the bear, I'm not going to bring the smooth outlines back. Instead, I'm going to follow the uneven outline I created with the acrylic so that it looks fuzzier. Of course, I have to fix its eyes and nose, and I gave it some eyebrows, and that's it for this outline. Now I'm gonna use a blue acrylic marker to go over this cloud here, covering the original black outline, making everything prettier. And I'm using a little bit of colored pencil to create a shadow on top of the tempera background. Now I'm going to tie everything together by doing all of the highlights with my white acrylic marker. And I'm done. Actually, no, I'm going to add a little bit of glitter to these glasses, and now I'm done. That's my page. I think it definitely proves that if you want to, you can really color with anything. So time to check the poll, and as I'm recording this, the winners are highlighters. Just barely. Okay, I actually had to stop recording and go out to a store near me to get highlighters. These are the only ones they had available, so I hope they work because this off-brand set was only $1.75. Let me look for a page to color. I'm going for this one with the bunny and the potion. I think it's going to work well. But first, let me swatch these because I've never used them. Let's do the traditional highlighters first. Sorry, I'm a very messy swatcher. That's why I decided to make my own book for swatching and organizing my coloring things because I can keep it all neat and together. I'm going to try one of these things where you cross all of the colors you have to each other so you can see how they overlay or blend. That's our first set. Nothing extraordinary about them. Normal highlighters. These do have very small points, but they're okay. Let me test these ones. These were so cheap and I've never ever heard of this brand before, so let's see. They look less like traditional highlighters, to be honest. And oh, this pink, it's so dry. That sucks. It's dry. Oh, and so it's the purple. Okay, so I'm not going to use these at all. They are bad. And also, I don't think they look enough like highlighters. So I'm going to go with the traditional ones. Let me just take a little break for thinking and figuring things out. My first impulse is to color the background with some stripes. And I want to do pink and blue and maybe let them overlay a little bit to create a purple. Let's see if this works well or if I need the ruler for each stripe. And yeah, I think I need the ruler for each stripe. And I think it's better for me since I'm right-handed to go from left to right. So I'm going to turn the book around and keep going. I'm also letting both colors overlap a little bit more so I don't have to be as precise. Now that's the first area done. And the first and second part, they look a little bit different because of the overlay. So let me go back to fix that by overlaying the colors on top. Yeah, it's not perfect. It looks wonky, but I'm just going to leave it and continue in the hopes that it looks better once everything's colored. And I'm done with the background. Oops, missed the spot. I think it looks okay. Not perfect, but again, maybe when everything is colored in the foreground, it's going to look okay. So I'm just moving on to the cork. I want to layer some pink on it to make it look kind of orange. And I want to do the same for this little border. I wanted it to be orange, so I'm going to go with the yellow one first and then the pink on top. But you know what? Now that I'm putting the pink on immediately, it's eating into the paper so much, I'm just going to color everything yellow first and then let it dry and then come back to do the pink on top. Now for the bottle, I want the liquid to be neon green and this marker is a little bit streakier, so I'm actually going to lean into the streaks and use them as texture. I'm not going to be bothered by this. I'm just going to keep crisscrossing everything, overlaying it until I like the look of it. Now I want the heart-shaped bottle to be see-through, so I'm using the blue and going over some of the edges with it and then leaving the rest clear so you can kind of tell that it's made of glass. And then I'm going to color the strings. I want them to be purple, so here again I'm going to layer 2 colors. But I should have let it dry like I did with the yellow because the pink ate so much of the paper up. Luckily, it's a small space, so I don't think it's that noticeable. I'm making the hearts neon pink, just like floating there, toxic, I don't know. And I'm going to finish the strings and decorations. And now that the yellow is dry, I'm going to go on top of it with pink, and it's of course becoming orange. This orange is a little bit darker than the one I created when I layered both colors immediately, but I think you can barely see the difference. Moving on, I'm going to do the entire bunny yellow. And I don't think you're gonna be able to tell through the screen, but this is so bright, it's actually kind of hurting my eyes using it too much. But at the same time, I have to say this is the most satisfying marker to use of the 4 because it's the juiciest and it's not creating that many streaks. It's almost like coloring with an alcohol marker, to be honest. Gotta tell you, I'm really enjoying coloring this page with these highlighters, and that is great because I wanted to do this video so I could really show you that if you want to make art for yourself, there's really no excuses. Same thing for coloring. You do not need to do all of the trends or to use all of the fancy art supplies to enjoy it. Coloring is enjoyable in every way. You just really need to print a couple of free pages of the internet and use whatever you have at hand, even if it's highlighters. You do not need to get my books or anyone else's. You just need to find an illustration that you love and that you can download for free and color it. And coloring can be such a cheap and fun activity for the summer now that the kids are here at home. You can print the same page for everyone and just have fun with it. And if you really want to do my illustrations, thank you. You can get my pages as a digital download from my website, which is cheaper than getting the books from Amazon. So you have options if you want to color along. But the point is you can choose to have fun with art with anything you already have at home. So as far as this page, I'm almost done. I'm just going to add a few shadows to the bunny with my blue marker. And here it is, done. Colored with only 4 highlighters. And I think it looks really, really nice. Let's look back at the other page we colored today with everything I had laying around my work area. And again, this one too is pretty and it was entertaining and so much fun. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if there's any other art or office supply you would like me to color with. And until then, I hope you're having the most wonderful day and that I'll see you next time. Bye!